Today, we will talk about attachment styles. These are the special ways we connect with others. They shape our closest bonds and our relationships, influencing our daily interactions. Our attachment style begins to form when we are very young babies. It develops from the bond we share with our very first caregivers, like our mothers and fathers. This early bond is crucial for our survival and our healthy emotional growth. It teaches us if the world is a safe place and if we can trust people. Think of it as an internal blueprint for relationships. This early map guides how we behave with romantic partners, our close friends, and even our own children later on. These patterns of connection were first studied by a psychologist named John Bowlby. His important work helped us understand why these early childhood bonds are so incredibly powerful throughout life. He noticed that a child's relationship with their primary caregiver created a specific emotional template. This template carries over into all of our future close and intimate relationships as adults. Later, a researcher named Mary Ainsworth expanded on this fascinating idea. She identified 3 main patterns of attachment in young children, which are now widely known and discussed today. She called these 3 distinct patterns secure, anxious, and avoidant attachment. Each style develops from different kinds of early caregiving experiences that a young child might have had. These styles are not judgments of a person's character. Instead, they are simply descriptions of the strategies we learned as little children to get our basic needs met. Understanding your own personal attachment style can be very transformative. It provides incredible insight into your behaviors, your needs, and your reactions within your most important and cherished relationships. It helps you understand why you might feel a certain way. It can explain your fears, your desires for closeness, and your need for independence from other people. We will now explore each of the 3 main attachment styles. We will start with the secure attachment style, which is considered the healthy and balanced model for relationships. After that, we will discuss the anxious attachment style. Then we will finish our discussion by exploring the avoidant attachment style and how it affects a person's life. Remember, most people have elements of each style within them. However, we usually have one dominant style that shows up most often, especially when we are feeling stressed. Let's begin by taking a much closer look at what it means to have a secure attachment style, a foundation for healthy and happy connections with other human beings. A secure attachment style is the most balanced and healthy pattern. People with this style feel confident in their relationships, and they are not afraid of true emotional intimacy. They generally have a very positive view of themselves. They also tend to have a positive and trusting view of other people, including their romantic partners and their friends. This style develops when a child's caregivers are consistently responsive. They are warm, available, and attuned to the child's needs, providing a reliable and safe emotional base. The child learns a very important lesson from this experience. They learn that they can rely on others for comfort and support when they are feeling distressed or afraid. This child feels safe enough to explore the world freely. They know they have a secure base to return to if they ever run into any trouble or danger. In adulthood, securely attached people are comfortable with interdependence. They can balance intimacy with a healthy and comfortable sense of their own personal autonomy and also their freedom. They are not afraid of being alone, but they also truly value the deep connection and support that comes from being in a committed and loving partnership with someone. People with a secure style can communicate their needs effectively. They can also listen to and validate the needs and feelings of their partner, which is very important. When conflicts arise, as they always do in relationships, they can manage them constructively. They don't resort to blame or shutting down, but instead work toward a resolution. They trust that their partner will be there for them. They also trust in their own ability to be a reliable and supportive partner in return for that trust. They are not easily made jealous or worried about abandonment. They have an inner sense of self-worth that is not dependent on their partner's constant approval or reassurance. These individuals can openly express love, affection, and vulnerability. They see it as a great strength, not as a weakness that other people could possibly take advantage of. Their internal belief is often, "I am worthy of love." They also believe, "I can trust others to be there for me when I need their help or support." They are resilient in the face of relationship challenges. They see problems as things to be solved together as a team, not as signs that the relationship is doomed. They can set healthy boundaries in their relationships with others. They respect their own limits and are also able to clearly respect the personal limits of their partner. They enjoy sharing their lives with another person. However, they maintain their own separate interests, their own friendships, and their own unique identity outside of the romantic relationship. A secure attachment allows for a relationship that is both comforting and liberating. It is a space where both partners feel free to be their authentic, true selves. They can forgive their partner for mistakes and imperfections. They understand that nobody is perfect and that a healthy relationship requires a great deal of ongoing grace and understanding. Overall, the secure style is a foundation for stable, satisfying, and long-lasting relationships. It is built on a solid bedrock of trust, mutual respect, and genuine emotional connection. Many people naturally have this style. For others who do not, it is something that can be learned and developed over time. This is called earned security by experts. They have a deep, core belief in their own lovability. This allows them to enter relationships with an open heart and a sense of optimism about the future together. They are not preoccupied with their relationship status. They can focus their energy on other important areas of life, such as their career, hobbies, and personal growth goals. They see their partner as a teammate and a collaborator. They work together through life's many ups and downs, celebrating the good times and supporting during the bad. This secure base allows them to be more adventurous and risk-taking. They know they have a safe harbor to come back to, no matter what happens to them. Now, let's transition to a different relational pattern. We will now explore the anxious attachment style, which is characterized by a very different set of feelings and behaviors. The anxious attachment style is often called anxious preoccupied. People with this style deeply crave closeness and intimacy, but they live in constant fear of their partner leaving them. They often have a negative view of themselves as unworthy. However, they tend to have a very positive view of other people, often idealizing their partners or friends. This pattern typically develops from inconsistent parenting in early childhood. The caregiver was sometimes available and responsive, but at other times they were intrusive, distracted, or unavailable. This inconsistency creates a lot of confusion and anxiety for the child. They never know which version of their caregiver they are going to get at any given moment. The child learns that to get attention, they must be persistent. They might become very clingy, demanding, or loud to make sure their needs are finally noticed and met. This creates a deep-seated fear of abandonment. The child feels that if they are not vigilant, their source of comfort and safety might suddenly disappear without any warning. In adult relationships, this translates into a need for constant reassurance. They frequently ask their partner, "Do you love me?" Or, "Is everything okay between us right now?" They may worry excessively about their relationship. They can become preoccupied with their partner's feelings and intentions, always looking for signs of potential trouble or impending rejection from them. Anxiously attached individuals can be perceived as needy or clingy. Their desire for connection can sometimes feel overwhelming to partners who require more personal space and independence. They are also prone to feeling intense jealousy. Small things like a missed phone call or a text message can trigger significant anxiety and fear about the relationship's stability. Their emotional state tends to be highly dependent on the relationship. When things are going well, they feel euphoric. When they sense distance, they can feel deep despair. Their internal monologue is often filled with worry. They might think, "I am afraid they will leave me," or "I need them to feel complete and happy." This style can lead to a lot of emotional highs and lows. The relationship can feel like a roller coaster, with dramatic moments of conflict followed by passionate reunions and apologies. They often sacrifice their own needs to please their partner. They do this hoping that it will prevent their partner from ever abandoning or rejecting them in the future. The fear of being alone is very powerful for them. They might stay in unhealthy relationships simply because the thought of being single is too frightening to even consider. They might text or call their partner very frequently. They do this to soothe their own anxiety and to make sure the connection between them is still strong. When their partner needs space, they often take it personally. They can interpret a partner's need for solitude as a direct rejection of them and their entire relationship. They tend to blame themselves when things go wrong. They might think, "If only I were better or different, then they would love me more and never leave." This creates a cycle of seeking reassurance. The temporary relief they feel from reassurance quickly fades, and the underlying anxiety about the relationship soon returns just as strong. They often focus on a partner's potential flaws at first, but once committed, they flip and only see the good, putting the partner on an undeserved pedestal. Their desire for merging with a partner is very strong. They want to be as close as possible, sometimes losing their own sense of self in a relationship. It is a painful and difficult way to experience love. The constant anxiety can overshadow the joy and comfort that a healthy relationship is truly supposed to bring you. Understanding this pattern is the first step towards healing it. Recognizing the root of the anxiety allows a person to develop new, healthier ways of relating to others. They must learn to build their own self-worth from within. This helps them become less dependent on external validation from a partner to feel good about themselves. We will now move on to the third attachment style. Let's explore the avoidant attachment style, which presents a very different approach to intimacy and to close connection. The avoidant attachment style is also called dismissive avoidant. People with this pattern value their independence and their freedom above all else, often avoiding true emotional closeness with others. They typically have a positive view of their own self. However, they often hold a negative or dismissive view of other people, seeing them as needy or overly demanding. This style often develops from caregivers who are emotionally distant. They may have been rejecting or unavailable when the child was in need of comfort, care, or support. The child learns a critical but lonely lesson from this. They learn not to rely on other people for emotional support because their needs will likely not be met. They learn to self-soothe and to suppress their own emotions. They become highly self-reliant from a very young age, seeing vulnerability as a dangerous thing to ever display. In adulthood, this translates into a strong discomfort with intimacy. They may feel suffocated or trapped when a partner tries to get too close to them emotionally. They often create distance in their relationships. They might use subtle tactics like being non-committal, focusing on work, or shutting down during emotional conversations with their partners. People with an avoidance style are masters of self-sufficiency. They pride themselves on not needing anyone and can have trouble asking for help, even when they need it. They might seem aloof, distant, or emotionally unavailable to others. Their partners often complain that they cannot get through the emotional walls that have been carefully built up. When their partner is distressed, they can feel very uncomfortable. They may react by becoming dismissive, changing the subject, or physically withdrawing from the emotional situation altogether. Their internal belief is often something like, "I am fine on my own." They also believe, "People are too needy, and I don't want to get tied down." They tend to suppress and hide their own feelings. They equate emotions with a loss of control and see them as a sign of weakness or immaturity in life. They might complain about their partners being too clingy. This happens even when the partner is expressing a normal and healthy desire for connection, closeness, and emotional support. They are very skilled at rationalizing their way out of intimacy. They may focus on a partner's minor flaws as a reason to keep their emotional distance safe. In times of stress, they prefer to be alone. They retreat into their own world rather than turning to their partner for comfort, which can be very hurtful. They may avoid using terms of endearment or saying, "I love you." These expressions of intimacy can feel threatening or like an obligation that they don't want. Relationships for them can feel like a constant negotiation. They are always trying to balance the need for connection with their much stronger need for personal freedom. They might prefer casual dating over committed, long-term relationships. This allows them to enjoy some connection without the perceived threat of deep emotional entanglement and being smothered. It is important to remember this is a defense mechanism. Their independence is a shield they learn to use to protect themselves from the pain of potential rejection. Underneath the independent exterior, they still have attachment needs. However, these needs have been deeply buried and suppressed for a very long time as a survival tactic. For a partner, being with someone avoidant can feel very lonely. It can feel like you are always on the outside, looking in on their private world. Healing for an avoidant person involves learning to tolerate vulnerability. It means slowly recognizing that needing others is a normal and healthy part of the human experience. They must learn to see the value in interdependence. This involves understanding that relying on a partner does not mean they have to sacrifice their entire personal identity. Their journey is about letting down their guard. It is about allowing themselves to experience the comfort and support that a truly intimate, close connection can actually provide. We have now covered the three main attachment styles. We have discussed secure, anxious, and avoidant patterns, and how they each uniquely impact our close personal relationships. An important question is if these styles are permanent. The good news is that they are not. Your attachment style can definitely change over time with awareness and effort. No single style is inherently good or bad. Each one is simply a learned strategy for coping with the world and trying to get our core needs met. The first and most powerful step is self-awareness. Simply understanding your own attachment pattern can help you make sense of your behaviors and your emotional reactions to others. By understanding your style, you can learn to communicate your needs more clearly. You can explain to your partner why you react the way you do in situations. If you are anxious, you can learn to self-soothe. You can build your self-worth instead of always seeking external validation from your romantic partner or your close friends. If you are avoidant, you can practice being more open. You can challenge your belief that independence is the only way to feel safe and secure in life. The ultimate goal for many people is to move toward earned security. This means actively working to develop the traits of a secure attachment style in your adulthood. This can be done through self-help, therapy, or being in a long-term, committed relationship with a securely attached partner who can provide a safe and stable emotional base. Understanding these concepts helps us have more compassion for ourselves. It also helps us have much more compassion and understanding for the behaviors and needs of our partners. Attachment theory gives us a valuable map for navigating relationships. It helps us build stronger, healthier, and more satisfying connections with the people that we love the most.